What's happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsey Jr. here with the Black Boss channel. Thank you guys for the continued support. Continue to hit the like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell. Now, Paul George just got paid. The Clippers are extending Paul George. He got a deal worth up to $226 million over the next 5 years to stay on the Clippers roster. And the Clippers just made a $226 million mistake by re-signing Paul George to this deal. Now, I have not read this article yet. I just read the headline. So we're going to read this together because this is like brand new information. This information came out within the last hour, like the last 30 minutes. Like, it is all new. I have not read Woj's report. Woj is the first tweet that I saw put out this report about Paul George and the contract extension. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to read this. We're going to read this together because it's a big deal. It's what's happening in the NBA and it's huge news. So let's see. 6-time All-Star forward Paul George has signed a maximum contract extension with the LA Clippers that guarantees him as much as $226 million over the next 5 years. His agent tells ESPN the Clippers are extending George's contract for an additional 4 years, $190 million on top of the $35 million guaranteed for this upcoming season. George had a player option after this season that will be replaced with a 4-year extension, which includes a new player option after the 24-25 year. The contract numbers are likely to be affected by lower interval. Okay, so that's the deal. The extension is connected to 134. Signed OKC in 2018. George 30 has been determined to return to Southern California, blah, blah, blah. So this is what in addition to Kawhi Leonard, the next steps for securing the franchise future would be re-signing Leonard, who could be a free agent after this season. George was first team All-NBA for the Thunder. Okay, so that's what I wanted to see. If they have re-signed Kawhi Leonard, and it does not look like they have. So that's the kicker. So back to you guys. So here is why the Clippers have made a mistake. Here's why. Because they re-signed Paul George. This was genius by Paul George. Because in Paul George's case, whether he elevates like they believe he can, become better in the playoffs, become better in the regular season, become a better player, continue to get better. So he signs now. Whether he elevates or continues to be dysfunctional in the playoffs, continues to be lackluster, continues to be pandemic P in the playoffs, he's getting paid. He got 226 million reasons to sign this deal. If the Clippers are offering you this, of course you're going to sign the deal. Now, in the Clippers' mind, the reason why they make this deal is because Kawhi Leonard forced Paul George to be there. He said, you either get Paul George, and not only am I not going to you guys, I'm going to the Lakers. So guess what they did? They went out and got Paul George. And so obviously Paul George went and signed the deal. He signed the contract extension. But see, now in Kawhi Leonard's mind, he might be thinking, I can't win with Paul George. I'm not going to win a championship with Paul George. It's not going to happen. It doesn't look like he's not good enough. And we will see. We will find out during the season. Will Kawhi Leonard sign an extension this offseason? Hell no. He is not going to sign an extension this year just like Paul George did. He's going to opt out after this season, whether the Clippers win the championship or not, because he'll have more leverage that way. If they don't win the chip, which I don't think they will because the Lakers got better, Kawhi's going to opt out and reevaluate everything. Obviously, he wants to be in Southern California. He has the house in San Diego. The Clippers give him whatever he wants, whenever he wants. He picks his practice schedules. He can show up late. He does whatever he wants. But, he still wants to win. He still wants to be considered better than LeBron James. He still wants to win championships. That is still the ultimate goal. Kawhi Leonard has accomplished pretty much everything that you can accomplish in the NBA as an individual. He wants to continue to win championships. And with Paul George as your number 2, we don't know if that's possible. Because in the playoffs, Paul George folds. In the playoffs, he don't become playoff P. He becomes pandemic P. He hits the side of the backboard. He gives you donuts in the fourth quarter, game 7s. He helps you. He doesn't help you like win series when you're up 3-1. You lose series to the Denver Nuggets when you're up 3-1. You allow comebacks like that with Paul George as your number 2, as we currently know, right? Like as currently constructed. Now things could change after this season. I personally don't believe they will, but they could. They could change this season, and maybe this investment isn't as bad as I think. But as of right now, from what we currently know, from all the evidence that is currently out there, Paul George can't be your number 2 to win a championship. Paul George just can't do it. You don't even get to the Western Conference Finals with Paul George as your number 2. As of right now, you can say, Jeff, it was the pandemic. It was the bubble. The Clippers didn't want to be there. If the regular season would have won, all of that woulda, coulda, shoulda, ifs, none of that matters. All we know is what we saw. And what we saw was Paul George, the lasting image was him shooting a jump shot, hitting the side of the damn backboard from the corner, which is like impossible. Like it's impossible for a scrub to do that, let alone a man who just got a $226 million contract extension. So it's going to be very interesting on what the Clippers do, because they could have just made a $226 million mistake by giving George an extension when Kawhi Leonard hasn't signed his extension. It's going to be hella interesting because I can promise you Kawhi's not signing an extension. Kawhi's going to let this thing play out. He's going to go back into free agency. They win a championship, okay. Then it pays off. You're gambling. But right now, the Clippers are gambling on Paul George. They're gambling that he will get better. They are gambling that he will help ascend them to a championship. It's going to be interesting to watch and see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsey Jr. with the Black Boss channel, the Boss Sports Network. Hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, because we post all the time, and we'll see you guys next time.